It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Thanks for joining us, my friends. We have an exciting show for you today. Remember, folks, download our app, SSP TV. Search SSP TV. Now, the reason for this is all the programs that we do, all the local neighborhood programs are on our app. That's the difference between our app and many other apps. Our app has to do with all of the local shows. I have a friend in China who watches us all the time, and also the news is there. My guest today, no stranger to the Sam Lesante Show. In fact, I think he's trying to take my show over. John Patton, who is the operations manager at the Standard Speaker, our media partners. John, how are you?
Great. Thanks.
No, you're not getting the show. Okay?
Well,
I mean, because
I can only hope.
Ratings are doing pretty good right now, so we just want to keep. Hey, I want to tell you, first of all, congratulations. I understand your daughter got engaged.
Yes, thank you.
Well, that's good.
You.
She's a beautiful person. Thank God she took after her mother.
Well, that's what I always say.
Okay. Now, we have, Ken Jackson comes here. Dave comes here, and I really enjoy. Well, Dave's pro at sports, and you guys sponsor our sports every night. But Ken Jackson's, you ever see the edition he does?
Mm-hmm.
Very informative.
Absolutely, he's very talented. Yes, yep.
I didn't know that was the other side of him.
Mm-hmm.
He looks good on TV. He does a great job, really. How's the Standard Speaker doing?
Doing real well, thank you. Yeah.
I know the girls work with the news department every day. I don't get a chance to get involved with that as much as I used to. Anyway, we got a lot of things happening here, okay? First of all, the Taste of Home. That was such a great event.
Yes.
Okay, now this year, you're not having it.
No, and we will be getting that information out. The Taste of Home has changed the way they do their business, and so we don't have the connection that we had. But it's surprising, and to me, it was surprising this early that we've gotten so many calls and emails about the show. And so I'm here to tell you that we do not have one planned for November. But hold on, because years ago we used to do it in the spring, and we're going to try and revisit it and see if we could do something in the spring. So it would be, we need some time to plan it, but certainly, the people of Hazleton have been great about it. It moved from the spring early in the 2000s to the fall, and it was very successful. But we are looking to do something in the spring. We just need, to coordinate it to make it as good, if not better, than it's been in the past.
I told you I would do the cooking. I told you I would be, but no, you didn't take that offer. No.
Well, we didn't know if you could carry a 2-hour show without me, so that's the way we looked at it. So, but again, the spring's an option.
That's an option. But you know what? It was a great event. It really was a fabulous event. I mean, it was a good afternoon out for a lot of people.
And the sponsors loved it. I mean, we had food before at the tables. I mean, the Wiltsey Center was always a great place to display it. So, I tell people, yes, be disappointed that it's not in November, but hopefully if we can revive it and run it in the spring, I think it'll be even bigger and better than it was before.
So, John, the interesting thing is, before we get into all the things that the Standard Speaker is doing, I find it interesting, if you Google, newspapers today across the country, where, most of them are declining in subscriptions, but they're online, et cetera. But one of the things that's unique about Time Shamrock is, here you got the papers here that's still alive and strong, Pottsville, Citizens Voice, and Scranton. And I think that's a tribute to a lot of things. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think you're exactly right. I think the people in northeastern Pennsylvania are avid newspaper readers. But from the standpoint of our advertisers is, we're not in a society anymore where 20 miles is forever. So you have people, like we have a lot of where we're at, where we get ads, from advertisers in Pottsville, Wilkes-Barre, and Scranton. People are willing to make those travels both from here to there or from there to here. So it really is, when you advertise with our group of papers, you're getting a lot for what you pay. On the flip side, then, is if you're a reader, you're getting all that information. You're getting, you're getting the information from Scranton or from Wilkes-Barre, from Pottsville, that maybe it was a little harder to get before. Sure. But I think I said last time when I was here, we have somebody up in Scranton. So if something happens in Scranton, we have that information that's pertinent, and we're not the barriers of counties and townships, they don't exist anymore.
Well, hence the Laura Mall. I mean, if you go to Laura Mall, which is 100% capacity, you'll see people from Scranton, you'll see people from Pottsville, etc., and attribute to the people of Laura. I mean, the Laura Mall is like blooming. But you bring something interesting, and again, I know this is a pitch, but the point is when I promote our apps, all of the apps, John, all of the shows are local neighborhood shows. So you can't get this on the internet,
Right.
In other words, if you download, and I'm not knocking any other app, but if you download a national app or, you're getting all of the information. And this is what people are looking for, which I think is great,
I agree. I mean, I was just telling Janine, I was on your app last night. We were looking at stuff and I said, the shows that you and I do are there. So like we can go back and we can look about, and I'd like to do that to see the mistakes I made.
Yeah.
I
make a lot of mistakes,
that's what I said. So I like to learn from them.
John, the Reader's Choice Awards. Okay, let's talk about that. I think that's the Reader's Choice Awards. How do you come up with this?
Well, what happened was and again, when you start talking about the power of our group, we had done it in Wilkes-Barre back in, I don't know, maybe in the spring. And what they did was we copied from them. What we did is we put out categories. There are 51 categories of businesses in the area. Maybe it's your favorite lawyer, maybe it's your favorite real estate, whatever the case may be, your favorite restaurant. We do a food one in the spring, but this is an all-encompassing. I won't say all-encompassing because I'm sure there are some out there that we can add later. But there were 51 categories. And so what we did is we ran in the paper. There were people who took ads out and said, vote for me, vote for Sand Springs or vote for whoever it is. And there was a ballot. And so what you had to do was you had to fill out your ballot, and then you sent it into the paper. And the amount of people who mailed them in or who dropped them off was staggering. But like you say, with the app, we have a lot of people who registered and voted online. Thousands of votes. There's been thousands of votes to count. So we ran this for maybe a 6-8 week period. The voting just ended.
Oh, it did?
Yes. And so what we'll do is it's going to take some time to tally the votes, and then the winners will be acknowledged on November the 8th at Capriati's, and they'll be acknowledged as being the Reader's Choice in Hazleton for the best of whatever the category is. And then people are nominated. So there was no restriction on it. So if you wanted to nominate your favorite operations manager, you could have nominated me, but we didn't have a category. So what we found out is since then there's a lot of categories that we will add. So we want to make this a yearly event. So what we do is we go to our people, and you're right. You have someone who's registered or who's watching you in China. We have people all over the world the same way. So we're getting votes from all over the country. Like someone's on there, they see it, they can vote from wherever they're at.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah, it's interesting.
The other thing is that there's for example, when you look at lawyers, I mean, there's so many great lawyers in Hazleton. And you look at restaurants. Well, there's a couple that I think are really good. But it's interesting, how that works. It's the same thing with your restaurants. Okay. The people who vote for that.
Right.
You find a lot. So you said you got a lot of people applying for that or registering.
Yeah, and that's why it takes so long between the time you end your voting until the time that you can declare your winner, because what happens is the votes that are online are relatively easy to tally. But the problem is there are so many votes that came in that people walked in and put in the box or mailed in. So people are going out of their way to mail these in because they want their vote to count. So like we said, our election day is Tuesday and our event is Wednesday. So we will recognize the winners of the best of the day after the November elections. Maybe the categories have to be expanded instead of best lawyer or best restaurant. Maybe you have to expand those to say best of this, and it's a learning process.
Yeah.
But certainly, again, it's not scientific, and you're not limited to one vote. And so there are people, so there are people who will go out and they will, it's almost like a campaign to vote.
Well, they do that for the Academy Awards,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they send out votes, to like Jack Palance and Elaine. They would get the ballots,
right,
and they would promote them. In other words, the movie companies would promote the movie, and they would ask. That's how the Academy. The Academy's not done by people's voice. If they were, half of them, I don't think would be making it. I don't watch them anyway. But
Right.
the point is, that's how they do that. So it's actually like a campaign. So
Sure.
don't forget, we got to get, we got to vote for et cetera, et cetera.
Right, right, and that's what happens in a lot of cases. That's what they've done. So if you saw the ad that we got a full page ad that ran 2 or 3 times a week over the course, and on there people would say vote for whatever Edgewood for whatever, and again so that's what they're hoping. Go online and vote or and again it is it's a fun thing, and so certainly we'll promote it that way, but it is something that's different. And when we knew that the Taste of Home was going to not be in November, we were looking for something to do, and obviously a unscientific voting is certainly a good way to put in right after Election Day. So
I could imagine when you were looking at it, she won, he won. How come he didn't win? How come she didn't win? Yeah. What this is, I guess it's letting people know how you appreciate
right.
it.
And so what we'll do is we'll acknowledge the people that were nominated, because you're right, there's in each category you might have 10 or 12 people, so we've gotten votes for people who are
Are you going to mention the honorable mentions? Are you going to?
What we're doing right now is putting it together to see how deep we need to go, because obviously this is the first time. And so what happens is you will have, a group of people. You're going to have somebody who wins. Obviously, there's going to be a winner, and then second place. But then what do you do for maybe there were 25 people nominated, which is really good, especially since they weren't. It's a blank category. It's not like you go on under best restaurant and vote for somebody. You have to put in who you think it is, and so you might have 100 people give 100 different names. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see. It certainly was a lot of fun doing. I mean, getting it set up.
Who's doing the judging?
Well, what happens is the ones that are online, we get a vote. So the program will tally the votes, and then our people have to put in the paper ballots. And so so that's what takes the time. That's what's taking the time between the end of the voting and pretty much October, November is till you get them all counted.
So you'll have all these you'll have them on record. So if someone says, hey, I want to see that.
Yeah. So it is, and again, to see the number that we've gotten certainly tells you how.
How about duplicates?
Mm-hmm. There is no, so if you want to vote every day, or you want to cut that and bring it in every day, you could do that.
Is that right?
It's not one vote, one person. So
wow.
So if you, like, we ran the ad 3 times. So if you wanted to do that, you could cut it out every day, and you could vote every day.
Okay. Folks, I'm talking to John Patton, who is the operations manager at the Standard Speaker, and this is going to be interesting because the Reader's Choice Awards is finalized now, right? The voting's done. But there's a lot of things happening after this. For example, we'll come back, we'll talk about the trip to Radio City and a little bit more. And also I want to talk to you about the Angela Park documentary when we come back after this break. Stay with us. Show, folks. Remember, 24/7 SSPTV.com. Anyone in the world could watch all of the shows we produce, roughly about 21 locally neighborhood produced shows. Don't forget, download our app, SSPTV. For those of you who have downloaded the app, you know what I'm talking about. You're able to get all of the shows we produce, and it's a lot of fun. My email, sam@SSPTV.com. Folks, remember back in 1957 and 1988, Angela Park and Drums entertained many local adults and children, and this documentary is absolutely fantastic. Okay, I got to hand it to a lot of people here. Tim Novotny, who was one of the key editors, my son Sammy, and a lot of people put this together. Now, for those of you who would really like to have a great, bringing back some great memories, October the 7th at the Draft House in West Hazleton. The doors open 11:15. We're going to have an exclusive showing of this, and you can buy the DVD. The DVDs are available, and at that particular event, we'll be having them on sale for $19.99. Right now, they're $24.99. But if you can't make it, let us know. The documentary is fantastic. You remember the good times. I remember those times at Angela Park with my family. Boy, do I miss that park. And every time people have seen this DVD, they have called and said they actually were crying because it was such a, just brought some great memories. You remember Angela Park?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you got to say makes a great Christmas gift.
Oh, thank you. See, you should be in.
I should be in advertising.
You should be in advertising.
Yeah.
John Patton, folks. He's the operation manager for Angela Park. He's the operation manager for the Standard Speaker. I used to run the dances down here. I used to do the Saturday night dances, and it was a lot of fun. I'll tell you, the Barlettas were they just were fantastic people. And I want to tell you, I've never seen a family in my life other than, my family worked all the time, worked hard, and always gave people a break. Yep. And we talked a little bit about this on the Freddie Barletta and Lou Barletta do some, we have a lot of interviews in here.
Right.
But Freddie was the main person, but it was so much fun. All right, so the Reader's Choice Awards again, they're done.
Right.
There's 51 categories.
Right.
Okay. Now, all right, so when will the awards be given? What we'll be doing, and give me all that other stuff.
Right. So what we'll do now is we'll tally all the votes up.
Who's it open to? I'm sorry. This event that you're having, okay?
Right.
Who is it open
Well,
to?
what we'll do is that'll be recognizing the people who have won. So it's not open. It's not open to the public. It's just a recognition of our first. So what'll happen is we'll do an acknowledgement. So we're going to do we'll either do a broadsheet that's going to list everybody in there by category and all that kind of stuff. And then what we'll do is we will recognize them at this event. So it is for the advertisers, the winners of those categories. So not advertisers necessarily, but the winners of those categories will be invited to this reception. And at that point, we'll do some pictures and we'll present the plaques to them. And so that's the kind of event that we're looking for. Again, the voting is so intense that it takes some time to get everything done. But we will announce them, and there'll be a separate pull-out that will basically explain everything that happened by the categories, and then on the 8th we will acknowledge all those people who have won.
Okay. But originally this was open to the entire public to
vote.
Right,
anybody could vote. I mean, and like I said, we got thousands of votes, and so that I think was good. Like I said, people online, but the number of people who would wait and cut them out and bring them in and drop them in the box was really a great testament to the contest.
So you'll list the winners in the paper? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
And certainly we'll put them on our news. Now, what's this trip to Radio City? First of all, it's a great event.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, Denise Sellers, who is our ad director, and John Malatesta, who worked in New York, came up with this idea. We were looking to do something. We're always looking to do something that involves our advertisers, our readers, whatever the case may be. And they came up with this trip to New York City, which I think is a great idea. So we did stuff and went out to the advertisers and thought, is this going to be something that's viable? And I was just saying, we started out with one bus. We're into our second bus, and we'll take a fleet if we have to. But we've been running ads in. We just started running them in the paper. So it's it's a Sunday. It's December 3rd. And what you do is you'll get on the bus. You'll drive you out to New York. Hopefully give you a little bit of a lunch on the trip over, and then you'll get to see the show at Radio City, and we'll bring you back.
You've been there, right? You've seen it.
I have never been there, and so I'm looking forward to it.
But I want to be on the bus that you're not on, because I understand you're singing Christmas carols on the way down. So I don't want to be on that bus that you're singing, because I heard your voice, it sucks.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I'm going to be on all the buses. So if we have to stop on 80 and I switch buses,
then
just
I'll
to make sure that everyone gets
switch.
Right,
Yeah,
so everybody gets a little dose of me.
Okay, so this is basically for the advertisers that
Well, what we did is we started out that way, and then we got there was some interest from people, and we said, well, let's open it up to our readers. It's a good deal.
So this is open to the readers.
This is open to everybody. Yeah. So we've been running them. It's $125, and we take care of everything. We take you, bring you back, that kind of stuff.
It's fantastic.
So for that day, you're kind of in New York for.
It's a fun day. John, you're gonna love the show.
Yep, I'm taking my wife.
Oh,
yeah, that's her Christmas present. She doesn't know it yet.
You cheapie.
Yeah.
You spend $125 on her. That's your Christmas present?
Oh no, I'm taking her for free.
Yeah. No, it's a great show. John, just for a review, we have the media partnerships. Sometimes people will come up and, like they said, they ask you questions about accounting. You're a CPA, but you don't know all the answers. Sometimes, how does your letters, the editor, work? I mean, some people say to me, I send this letter, they never put it in. How does that work?
Well, that's a great question, because a lot of times what happens is, the letters come in, and if they're not signed or if they're over the limit, we have to go back and tell people that. We try and we try and get them in as best we can. And so what happens is you kind of run them in some kind of order. But what happens is if there's something that happens that's specific and you have a letter to the editor and then maybe you have a response, that person's response might get in before another letter gets in because it's a response to something that happened. So we tell people to hold, to be patient with that because we get a lot. I mean, again, I think that is another testament to our readers and the fact that they understand the value of the paper and they understand the value of having their opinion in there.
Now, answer this question because they asked me this. They asked me, Sammy, they only want to put in what they want to put in. They're only one-sided on different things, and they don't want to put this in. I can't answer that question.
No.
I could say I doubt it very much,
right,
but I can't answer that question. Do you have favorites?
No, obviously. I mean, again, and I think what happens is if you went back and you got that portion of the audience and said, what is it that you're looking for? And you could go back and point to it. But you're right, and I think I said this the last time I was on. Sometimes if you go back and take in a week or in a 2-week or in even a month sample, you may not get what's representative of the paper as a whole. Maybe because of something that happened specific to that time frame. And so if you look over the length of the paper over months, you will see that it's not one-sided, but it's hard to explain that to people, and especially if they're
affected by it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, if they're affected by it. Talking to John Patton, folks. He's the operation manager of the Standard Speaker, not Angela Park. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this great event that he's having and how you can get on the radio trip to Radio City Music. It's fantastic. See you in a break. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. 24/7, SSPTV.com. My email, sam@ssptv.com. My guest today, John Patton, who is the operation manager of the Standard Speaker, who wants to be my co-host on the Sam Lesante Show, and the answer is no. Now, this just in, breaking news, folks. The Viewers' Choice Awards. The Viewer Choice Awards are tied. The Sam Lesante Show and The Girls, the two top talk shows in Northeastern Penn, they're tied. I just did a poll. Okay.
Well, and I think the Sam Lesante Show, the most popular ones were the ones I was on. I think so.
Well, that's what it says here. When John Patton was on. Okay, Readers' Choice Awards. This again is what? Was?
Well, yeah, what we did is we just polled, we had 51 categories, and we just asked the people to vote for who their favorite was. So it's not scientific by any stretch of the imagination, and as we go forward, I'm sure we'll have some changes to it, but it certainly was we consider it to be a success in its first year.
You talk about, the Viewers' Choice Awards, okay, and we're in advertising, okay. Branding to me is so important, John. When you brand your name or you brand your company, and that's what I tell my advertisers, I'm sure the same thing there. Mm-hmm. And every form of advertising has its niche, okay? Right. But when you brand your name or your company, we may not need you today, but tomorrow you're there. That's what Murado Lesante did. For 98% of my was branding. Everybody loves Murado Lesante. Right. When you thought of a piano and organ, you thought of Murado Lesante. Now you think of Murado because he's in the piano and organ business. But it's interesting, and it stimulates a lot of activity.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that this is, when you talk about it, this is exactly what you're looking at. I mean, there are 51 categories, and you may not need half of those categories on a daily basis. Yes. But it would be nice to know when you do need one of them, that someone that was in that is top of mind.
You know what else my wife told me? She said, Sammy, there's some things that maybe some people, advertisers, don't know. There's a lot of people come in this town who are new, that do not know. That's why all around the towns are so successful. Right. Do not know where they could go and get things. Right. The new people, forget about people who are here. They know that. Right. But the new people coming in. So you're having the trip to Radio City. Okay. Anyone could go right now.
Yep. Anyone can go.
What do I do if it's December 3rd?
It's December 3rd. If you want to go, we have a phone number to call. It's 570-501-3523. John Malatesta will be more than happy to take your information, or you could stop into the paper. We have people come into the front counter and write a check and reserve your spot. So looking forward to it.
All right. Now, John promises he'll only sing on one bus. So get the bus he's on. Don't get the bus he's on. Angela Park documentary, folks. These DVDs are available right now at Samson Productions. We have different places. We'll be putting the Laurel Mall, and we'll have one probably down in the valley. I talked to Robin Stevens. They don't have him yet, but we're going to probably bring him down to Robin Stevens. But the event, this big event we're having October 7th, doors open 11:15 at the Draft House. We're gonna show the entire video, and that day they're going to be on sale for $19.99. Folks, other DVDs, as you remember, are like $40, $50, but we're giving a break. We want everyone to see these. They're going to really enjoy it. You're going to love this when you see it.
Makes a great Christmas gift.
Makes a great Christmas. I like this guy. He should be in advertising. John, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Congratulations to your daughter.
Thank you.
And your son's doing all right?
Yep, he's doing good.
Yeah. Now, which one's away?
Well, two are away. One's in Philly, one's in now Texas.
Yeah. So, John, I remember your hair was very black before the kids went to college. And I noticed that over the last couple of weeks, your hair just popped out gray.
Yes.
Now, could it be because they're in college and your daughter got engaged? And all
Yeah, that could absolutely be it.
Well, you got a great family. You
Thank
really
you.
do.
Thank
John,
you.
it's always a pleasure. John Patton, operation manager for Standard Speaker, not Angela Park. We wish it was still open. We'll see you next time.